But the one thing that came up for me as you were describing this process, right, is how do I help that person that's worked for one company for 30 years?
Here's the thing we need to be mindful of at any given time. Even if we have one of those forever jobs. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're still around, but are you relevant? Are you still relevant?
Yeah.
And boy, it's kind of harsh. It's a harsh question. In order to really be consistently employable.
Welcome to the Vision to Reality podcast. I'm your host, Curtis L. Jenkins, and in each episode, I speak with industry experts, thought leaders, and innovators to break down the strategies, techniques, and methods that turn their ideas into reality. Whether your vision is to scale your business, build and lead a winning team, prepare for your next big career move, this podcast is for you. Let's get started and bring your vision to reality. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Vision to Reality podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Jenkins, and I'm excited about the guest we have today. Theresa Hummel-Krallinger is an award-winning international speaker and senior HR professional who's known for her humor, audience interaction, storytelling, and wealth of resources. Theresa has served as an executive in both the financial services and pharmaceutical industries and as president of the Philadelphia chapter of Association for Talent Development and Bluebell Toastmasters. She was part of the Temple University non-credit faculty for 17 years, where her courses were consistently highly rated. She has won numerous awards, including Chief Learning Officer's Learning Elite Award, 2 Emmys for her work on PBS television, and was recently a finalist for HR Person of the Year in the Delaware Valley. Theresa has been a paid comedian for over 20 years, and I say paid. She performs regularly with local sports radio celebrity Joe Conklin. She's opened for Bobby Collins and Wayne Cotter and has performed on a celebrity cruise. She's most comfortable performing in the gymnasium of a Catholic school, a VFW Knights of Columbus, or Fire Hall. Welcome, Theresa.
Thank you for having me, Curtis. Good to be here.
It is such a pleasure. And many don't know, but we've had pretty much a history of trying to come together. And we've always had things come in between it. So this is a monumental moment for us.
It's going to happen right now. I feel it. It's happening.
I mean, think back to when you were hosting the, what is it called? Meet the Author.
Meet the Author.
And my book, I was so ready. And then this little thing called COVID just came and took
Blew
that
it out
away.
of the water. We got to have you back to Meet the Author, by the way, Curtis. We got to have you back.
I'm looking forward to it. So let's talk about it. What it is that you do and why do you do it?
All right. So I am proud to be the leader of High Five Performance, an organization that helps companies create places where people want to work and the leaders that they want to work for. So I've been doing this for over 2 decades. How fast time flies when you're having fun. And I can't believe I get paid to do work that I love. So I get to work with organizations who know and value healthy culture and employee engagement. And we get to put in place nice people infrastructure and offer nice training to help people be the best that they can be.
Awesome.
Still doing it after all these years.
All right. And you're a paid comedian. Tell us about that.
So I had never intended to become a comedian. In fact, it seemed far-fetched. But when I left my corporate job back in 2002, I took an 8-week course at Montgomery County Community College for $89. Just so that I could weave humor into my speaking and training. Little did I know that $89 8-week investment would lead to 23 years of friendships and new community and being paid to be on stage to make people laugh. But that's what's happened.
So you're getting paid and you're getting paid.
I'm getting paid to do things that I love to do. Not that there aren't aspects of owning your own business that are not delightful. Not everything is delightful, but the work itself is a joy. It's very rewarding.
And was this the vision that you had for yourself when you were growing up, that you wanted to go into HR and be a comedian? What was that vision that you had?
So my vision was kind of small. I'll be honest. I grew up in a very lower middle class family in a suburb of Philadelphia, and not far from the infamous Merck company. So I am within, to this moment, as I sit in this office, I'm within a stone's throw of the West Point campus for Merck. So, not knowing a lot about what was going on in the world, I thought to myself, I'd like to be a doctor someday. But before I can even get into medical school, I think I'll get a job at Merck, a science related job, and make some money and then go to medical school. Well, little did I know that in order to have a job at Merck, they have to hire you. You actually have to apply. You don't just show up at the door and say, "This is what I planned. I am now here." And they say, "Oh, well, thank goodness. Please come in." So you have to actually apply for the job and get accepted. And back at that time, I could not get hired there. And I was very dismayed. So I ended up, as many of us say, I ended up, because you got to do something, getting a job at Prudential in Willow Grove, doing clerical work. I mean, I didn't even take any business courses in college. So I ended up getting this job because I needed to make money, and I stayed at Prudential for 18 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I did not dream of this, but I think the universe sometimes, I always picture like shaking us out where we need to be. So we kind of have in our head what we think we want, but then you're kind of shaken out where you need to be because you come into this world with a certain personality style, and I don't know, I always picture like our soul has a purpose and gifts, and you just kind of find it. And I'm just really blessed to have really fallen into this. Now, since that time, since I've been working in the field, I've gone back and I've gotten certifications and have done some other formal education things to firm things up. But I did not dream of this as a child at all.
Right. I don't think any of us dream of what we end up. I mean, you got
Right.
policeman, fireman,
Yeah.
football player,
Right.
ballerina. You got all those things that you see, and then you get that dose of reality. There's so many other things that you can do, and so you're doing it, and you're leveraging your talents, and that's good. It seems like you're doubling down on that. You go into corporations to help leaders, I guess, create companies that people want to work at.
Yes.
Talk more about that, please.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting thing, and it's a moving target because I've
Mhm.
been doing this for a long time. And the things that make a company a great place to work back in 2002 are very different than what is required now. So, as the generations shift in the workforce, they have different values and expectations, and that's all based on their formative years and what's going on in the world at that time. So, all this to say, leaders in organizations would be smart to kind of keep their finger on the pulse of what is it that keeps employees engaged. And why do you want engaged employees? Because engaged employees give more. They
Mhm.
care more. We have discretionary time at work. And sometimes when we care more, we give more and we
Mhm.
share our ideas and we take care of things. Other times, if people aren't engaged, they give just enough to
Mhm.
check the boxes. And I call them ghosts. They kind of float into work and they float home. They're not really
Mhm.
fully present there. They're just ghosts, a shell of themselves. They come in and they go home. Smart organizations know in order to be great, you have to have engaged people. You have to have a culture that is thoughtfully crafted. And I'm very fortunate that most of the organizations I've worked with, they get that. They know that's what they want, but they don't always know what the path is. And that's where I can help them see
And
what
that's how
that
you
path.
connect them, right? So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Here's the
yeah.
path.
How do you help with the employee? I'm working on my next book to
Nice.
help people find jobs. So, my first book was The Only Job Search Book You'll Ever Need, and I thought,
Yes.
okay, I thought that was going to be the book.
Because that's the title. Yes.
And that was published in 2019, and you and I talked about Meet the Author, in which
Yes.
that small thing that happened called COVID,
Just a little thing.
and it changed the world, and it
Yeah.
changed even how we work today. And so I'm
Yes.
going back and I'm going to rewrite the book. And that's why I'm interviewing great people like you so I can learn what is going on out in this world. What is happening
Yeah.
now since 2019?
Yeah.
And how has that shaped your business?
Yeah, it's interesting when that whole situation, and I still remember that Friday in March when
Mhm.
everything closed down, right?
Yeah.
And I remember they said to us, "We're going to close down for 2 weeks." Do you remember this, Curtis?
Yes, I
I
do.
distinctly
I
remember them
do.
saying, "We're going to close down for 2 weeks," and
Yeah.
we all thought, 2 weeks, good times, right? Good
Yes.
times.
Yes.
If I had known that was gonna be my last time in a restaurant for months, I'd have ordered dessert. I just didn't know. We didn't know, Curtis. We
No,
didn't
we did
know.
not.
So it was such a shift in mindset in so many ways. So though we are 5.5 years out from that fateful Friday, we are 5.5 years out. This is a different work world.
Yeah.
It's a different work world. One, the genie's out of the bottle, right? A lot of us office workers learned we don't have to be in the office to make things happen,
Yeah.
right? Could work from
Yeah.
home. You
That's right.
cannot stuff that genie back in the bottle.
No, you
She's out.
cannot.
She's out. We all know it. So organizations are grappling with how do we best conduct business and have a healthy culture? Do we mandate 5 days a week in the office? Do we just say, no, we're not even going to have an office and 5 days will be remote? Or do we do some kind of hybrid thing where we're in the office 3 days, out of the office 2 days, and kind of meet halfway? And leaders have to really assess. Too many times I'm seeing leaders now go by, well, this is how it should be. And I hate to pick on the boomers. I'm just going to say a lot of the boomers should come to. Here's what you should be saying. You should be saying, what is going to get us the best outcome for our customers, for our employees? What is going to align with our strategy? Not because it's the way it should be,
Mhm.
but what is the way that we should be working to get the best outcomes? We need to really embrace outcome based thinking. And I think a lot of these decisions, you can tell I'm on a stump now, are made from an emotional place or, well, I had to go to work for 5 days. It's all well and good. I love in person. I love in person because I get to see people. I can
Mhm.
give them a hug, not in a weird, you have to run to HR way. But you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
there's something special about in person. I also recognize we can get a ton of stuff done, not all being under the same roof. So that is one big factor that has shifted. I also think people look at their own personal time in a different way. They're kinda
Mhm.
like, "Wait a minute, I get to spend more time with the kids when I'm not commuting to work 45 minutes to an hour. I get to I don't have to put on pants in the morning." I mean, how many of us worked in slippers and sweatpants? Come on.
That's right.
Even
That's
I
right.
would be, like, all dolled up here, and have, like, shorts and stuff. So, all of these things are factors that are impacting the current workforce, and you just can't deny them. They are what they are.
Yeah. And then it seems like this other thing, less about the humans, but then it's AI, right? The emergence of
Yeah.
AI.
Yes.
Yeah. So how is that impacting your business and how you're communicating with your clients?
Oh my gosh. So Curtis, every year I have a development plan, right? Because you and
Yep.
I both are career professionals and
That's
we
right.
know. So every year I have a development plan and I say to myself, I'm going to be better at something next year
Hmm.
than I am right now. So in 2024, my goal was to wrap my head around AI.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not because I like it, not because I want it to succeed, but because it is, right?
Yeah.
It is a game changer. I don't care what you do.
Hmm.
You could be retired. And if you are using AI, it is a game changer for your life. It is a resource that is not going away. And your best bet is to dive in, embrace it, and see how it can work for you.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm doing with organizations now. So I had a program that I did for administrative assistants. And I shared because a lot of them were afraid of AI. Like there's almost like this taboo, like it's a bad thing. But I showed them there's all these different platforms. Let's use ChatGPT because it's popular and showed them this is how it can enhance your work. If you have to write a memo, take that
Hmm.
memo, put it into ChatGPT and say, I still want it in my voice, but could you make this better? And it does.
Yeah.
It does. So from an AI perspective, it is what it is. We have to work within the context of what is. So like it, hate it, It's using water. I don't know. There's all kinds of ecological things that we have to consider too. I get it. I know. But it is what it is. And I think we need to be smart about asking ourselves, how can this enhance my work? How can I be better because of this? So there's a long-winded answer, Curtis, but that's what I'm thinking about AI.
No, no, and I appreciate it, right? We talked about three things, and the first was the attitudes that us boomers, I happen to be
Yeah.
a boomer that's flexible, and a lot of times we think about what got us where we are is the right
Yes.
way, our habits, right? And so we disconnect from people. So it's good that you're working with these leaders to help them make a connection. Are you
Yeah.
making connections? Let's say if you had to do a percentage, right? I would assume that some people are going to resist you no matter what, just because they're curmudgeons and they just don't want to lose, what gave them the power that they have today. But
Yeah.
what kind of impact are you making, say, on a percentage wise when you're working with these managers?
I often use, and it's a phrase from Marshall Goldsmith wrote a
Hmm.
book called "What Got You Here Won't Get You There,"
That's right.
right?
Yep.
And I love that as a quote because I think it's our reality. Like we're blessed. We did some smart things, whatever they were, to get us to a certain point. Are they the same things that are going to get us to the next thing? Maybe not. Maybe not. And we just have to be smart about that. So I often use that. And I also talk to them and say, let's be business people here. Let's think about the outcome we want. Can we continue to do what we've always done? Or do we need to do things differently? What's the smart choice? And pretty much, we have to wear our business hats. And it's typically my go-to is let's wear our business hats. One, I love the quote from Marshall Goldsmith in the title of his book, "What got you here won't get you there." And we need to be mindful of, in order to get new outcomes that we're trying to achieve, we might have to go about it in a way that is different than how we did things. So, and that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that in a different context, we need to approach things in a different way. And that is how sometimes I'm able to move them off of that. But the way to get things done is to have people in the office 5 days. But sometimes you can't move them, Curtis. And I don't want to pick on just the boomers. It's interesting. I'm a cusper. I am a
Okay.
cusper. I am at the tail end of boomer and
Yeah.
the very beginning of Gen X. Now, I identify with, if I dare say that, I identify with Gen X. I tend to lean that way. I'm kind of an MTV kid, so I feel like Gen X, but I am literally right on the year that cuts off boomers from Xers. So when I call out the boomers, I too am part of that crowd.
Hey, I just wanted to take a quick break to say thank you for tuning in to the Vision to Reality podcast. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're ready to level up your business or career, I've got some great resources for you. To turn your business vision into reality, my book, Vision to Reality, Start Working, Start Living, is available now and filled with strategies to help you bring your goals to life. Plus, the companion Vision to Reality digital workbook is the perfect tool to guide you step by step through the process. You can grab both at curtisljenkins.com. And if you're preparing for your next job search, check out my book, The Only Job Search Book You Will Ever Need. This book uses proven marketing strategies that have been used for over 60 years to help you rise above competition to land your dream job. You can grab your copy at curtisljenkins.com. And I have great news. This book will be updated with a new version that includes recent impacts on the job search process, such as remote work, AI, government policy changes, and much more. Thanks again for listening. Now let's get back to the conversation. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you what you just did for me, because I'm a cusper too.
Are
I just
you?
never heard the term. And so
Yes.
what I will do is I'll follow my sword and say that I'm a boomer, but I know that I don't behave like a boomer. So I'll take the cusper, because I know that, I mean, there are times
Right.
I can say that I'm a millennial, right? So
Yeah.
just from the way of thinking, but yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say about what you talked about and the impact, say, of COVID so much demand on hotels. People are saying, that people are now working abroad and vacationing at the same time and making that
Yes.
happen. They're starting new
Yes.
businesses using the AI
It's
technology.
awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so are you doing that as well?
Yeah, so what's nice is I think I've kind of always done it,
Hmm.
because a lot of the clients that I have, so if I work with a large pharmaceutical company that is global,
Yeah.
we had been doing workshops using, we didn't have, Zoom wasn't our platform at the time,
Right.
but we had other platforms, because they're not going to send me to China, but yet they have employees in China
Yeah.
and they want everybody in their department to have the same training. Yeah. So yes, here's what I do. This is some crazy stuff. I don't have a vacation home. A lot of people now are, buy like a shore house or a mountain house or whatever I don't do that. What I do is I get VRBOs. I get like a really amazing house and I will work from there. I'll do my calls from there. I did a keynote for 400 people for a large pharmaceutical company from a VRBO. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Now I'd pray for internet because the technology gods had to be smiling because I'm like, dear Lord, please let the internet at this house be working well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a paid keynote. I was at the VRBO, and yeah, so yeah, I'm working from wherever. Why not?
Yeah, that's right. And so this is another way that technology is showing us that we don't have to hold on to our past, right? In terms of
We
making sure
don't.
we get the outcomes.
Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk?
That's right. That's right. So I want to go to your new book, Managing Your Career Boat. Yes.
Make waves. There it
Make
is.
waves. All right. So nautical reference. Why?
Somehow, when I want to say like 2003, I started a job search group because at that time, imagine this, the market was not great. People were losing jobs. And I thought, let me be part of the solution. I started a little job search group. So I did a program and just an idea came to me that your career has really four components to it that you need to tend to, right? You need to
Okay.
take care of, just like a boat, right?
Yep. Yep.
So the one is the rudder, and the rudder is the part of the boat that provides direction, right? So
Hmm.
you're steering, but that rudder is taking you. Now you have a choice as to what career you want to follow, what path you want to follow. So maybe today you want to be, I don't know, a career coach, but maybe 10 years from now you want to be a retirement coach. And it's okay to change your rudder. But in doing so, you need new skills and experience and credentials and all that stuff, which brings me to the second part of the boat, which is the body of your boat, the hull. And the hull is your skills, your experience. What problems do you solve? What things can you do? What are you known for? What are you really good at? What can you make happen? What can you create? That's so now at this point in my career, and I would think for you as well, we're like a battleship. Like it's like we got a lot going on. We've got a
Hmm.
strong hull.
Yep.
The next part is the sails of your ship. The sails are great if there's wind. And when I say if there's wind, that means there's a good market. There's a
Mm-hmm.
good market. And if you have sails and a good wind, it'll take you where you want to go. Those sails are your third party validation. So degrees, designations, certifications, books that you've published, patents that you've had. It's also your personal branding,
Mm.
which we used to call reputation.
Yeah.
So it's what people say about you. So when your name comes up, are they like, oh, Curtis, he is awesome. What a great guy. Or are they like, yeah, I don't know about Curtis. I worked with him. So that is a big part of just like what's the buzz about you. It's that third party validation is really what the sales are.
Gotcha.
Now, the most important part, I think, beyond having being good at what you do is your motor.
Mm.
Your motor is going to help you even when there is no wind. And right now, Curtis, there is no wind.
Yeah.
Right
It's a
now,
tough market.
I'm just saying the wind is slow. But if you have a strong motor, that's your professional network. Those are people they know you, and they will give an endorsement for you. They'll be like, absolutely, Curtis is the guy. He is so good. I remember a project we worked on. He solved these problems, creative thinker, da da da. You need a strong motor when there is no wind. In fact, if there is wind and you have a strong motor, you're kicking butt and taking names.
Mm-hmm.
4 parts of your boat. We need to take care of all of them depending on what you want to be. Let's say we talked about it earlier. I wanted to be a doctor. Well, in order to be a doctor, I'm going to spend some time on the sails of the boat, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lots of schooling. Residency, all kinds of little big sales, because I can't be a doctor and wing it. I would be arrested
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
trying to be a doctor winging it. So sometimes you have to spend a lot of time on the sales. Other times it really doesn't matter even if you have a degree, right?
Yeah.
It just matters like you got good ideas, the gift, the gab. Maybe you get into sales,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to have a PhD in sales to be a good salesperson. You just need to be a good salesperson.
Yeah.
So then you want your motor to be strong. You're in sales, you better have a motor.
Yeah.
So do you see how, like, if you look at your career in terms of what is it I'm trying to do? What are the parts of my boat that are most important? And let me focus on those. So I have people, and this is 2003, I swear to you, I had them draw their boat. But
Okay.
now that we've talked about it, draw your boat. And everybody who's like, oh, I'm not an artist. It doesn't matter. What is the part of your boat that is strong? What is the part of your boat that needs? And it's all just to give you a sense of how am I managing my career? What do I need to do better? Where am I already doing a good job? And guess how long you're going to have to manage your boat? How long, Curtis?
I think you continuously manage your boat as long as you're going to be working.
Dude, a lifetime.
That's right.
A
That's right.
lifetime.
That's right. That's
And
right.
you and I both know this because you're a career coach. So I'm going to pitch the question to you. What are you noticing as you help people manage careers that has changed along the way? What are some things that have changed?
Wow. Okay. So some of the things we talked about earlier, right? And that is how we view work.
Yes.
And right. And so some of those attitudes around wanting to work remotely, that what you call ghosting, what people call quiet quitting.
Yes.
And the phenomenon that's happening right now, which you just mentioned about the market being bad. So now this new thing called job hugging, right? So people don't want to leave their jobs. They want to keep their jobs because it's cold outside.
It's like, for the love of God,
So
hanging
that
by their toenails.
exactly. But the one thing that came up for me as you were describing this process, right, is how do I help that person that's worked for one company for 30 years? They didn't save money. They need a job. And the skill that they had is maybe associated with an old technology that's now obsolete. They didn't invest themselves and they need to work. That is, to me, the hardest person to help. And so you got to deal with this both psychologically because they're really
Yes.
feeling bad.
Yes.
And then you're like, so what part of the area, like how do you keep their sales and their motor going?
Yeah.
And so what people like to say is it's ageism. And I do believe
Not
that ageism
necessarily. I
exists,
agree.
but it's not but some people need something to hold on to, so they say
Yes.
that is the reason why.
Yes.
So in terms of the difficult, so there's people that it's easy to work with because they are motivated. They do have sales and look,
Yes.
they just need a little bit of a rudder to help them with some direction. And they have a solid hull. Then there's those that have never managed their career. They've had a job since high school
Yep.
and now they're in this brave new world and it is so hard for them to navigate. And I'm finding most of the folks that are impacted by the government layoffs.
Dude, I was just going to say, because they thought they had a job forever,
That's
right?
right.
In
That's
a
right.
way, we kind of envied them and a little bit poked fun at them.
That's
Because,
right.
like, once you get in with the government,
That's right.
they're not prepared.
Yeah. So
They're not
they're the
prepared.
hardest ones.
Yeah, here's the thing we need to be mindful of at any given time. Even if we have one of those forever jobs. I
Yep.
don't know if they're still around, but if those are you relevant? Are you still relevant?
Yeah.
And boy, it's kind of harsh. It's a harsh question. In order to really be consistently employable,
Hmm.
and what I call employability insurance. It's like
Hmm.
insurance that you'll always have work.
That's right.
It's two primary things. Clearly there's lots of things. It's two things. One, you have to be really, really good at something relevant now. It's a problem you can solve. It's a task you can complete. It's a thing you can get done. It's a way that saves money, adds money, but it is something you are just freaking the master at.
Mhm.
I don't care. It could be you're a server at a restaurant. I have a friend of mine from high school. She started waitressing at age 15. She is now 61 years old. She is still waitressing. That woman kicks butt, takes names. She is the best server on the face of the earth. She's the gift of gab. People love her. She gets great tips. She is still relevant. She is amazing at what she does. So you have to be really good at something that people will pay you for,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The second thing is you need to have people who know and will speak for you on that. Previous employers, colleagues, people who've been in your audience that you spoke to, whatever it is. So it's two things: be really awesome and have people who will be willing to endorse you. If you can do just those two things and at any given time be able to say, I got that, you will find work even in the toughest job market. Challenge me, Curtis. What do you think? Is that it's
I
probably
got
not quite that easy.
No, I got goosebumps because you struck a nerve for me. So going back to that person who hasn't managed their career, the one thing I will tell anybody right now, whether you're in the start of your career to end of your career, be careful what you talk about and be careful who you spend time with, because all
Yeah.
of that is going to come back to haunt you if you don't
Or help
manage,
you,
or help you if you
depending
need
on the
to
choices.
manage and have great relationships with people, and you do have to show up. One of the things I tell people all
Yes.
the time is that I'm always looking for a job. And I say that even right now,
Yes.
you and I are creating a piece of history just being on this podcast. It lives forever.
Yeah.
Somebody will see it and hopefully it will help them. But what I don't want to happen is being somewhere that I'm recording forever, having a bad attitude about things, or besmirching my own reputation or somebody else's, that they
Yes.
won't endorse me. How many Hollywood folks have suffered from that when people look
Yes.
back on their socials and then brought it up. I think we might have went overboard a little bit and just, I don't want to get into a political discussion around how people were vilified in that way, but
Yeah.
maintaining your reputation, being that
Huge.
person when somebody else is in a room thinking of a problem that needs to be solved and they go, Teresa,
Yeah. Be that
Teresa,
person.
I got that. And then Teresa gets that phone call. That's who you have
Yes.
to be. So yes,
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head for me.
I think this and in fact I know this angers some people because they're like, no, 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 no. I have a PhD and I was the vice president of such and such. I it does not matter. It matters insofar as, all right, maybe you need to be a college professor, you have to have a PhD. But the reality is, when you're looking for work, it's what do people think and feel when they meet you? What
Yeah.
are other people saying about you? And I know when I do branding, we do some branding workshops with corporate clients, and people are like, but I don't want to have to think about my brand. I just want to be able to come to work and do my job. We have to work within the context of what is.
Hmm?
And this is what the working world is like. Now, you can be defiant. You and I are defiant. We're like, we're going to go off on our own. We're going to do our own thing. And that's all well and good. But you still have to manage your brand, right? You
Yep.
still have to have a
Yep.
community of, I call it a fan club sometimes. You have people that are like, "Oh, Curtis is awesome."
That's
That's
right.
who I'd go to. So you're never going to escape this. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
It is, especially trying to help somebody who thinks that way. So I want to flip that switch. So there was somebody that came to you, some company, some person, and you worked with them. You turned whatever the situation was into a success. And in doing so, it actually changed who you are.
Yes.
Tell me the story. You don't have to say the person's name, but give me the story
Yeah.
and what was the outcome? Yeah.
So interesting. And it's the first thing that came to my mind. And I'm going to trust, the universe on this. There was an organization that was a client,
Hmm.
and they knew they needed to train their managers. It was an organization that was growing and growing. It started with just a couple people, and then it was a little, and next thing you know, they've got several hundred people, right? So they had, I think, 180 people in the U.S., and then they had another group, maybe of 30 or 40 in the UK. Anyhow, they have terrible problems holding on to people
Mm.
because they're a small organization. They can only pay so much, right? Because
Mhm.
money is finite for them,
Mhm. Mhm.
but yet they want to hold on to their people. And I was just training managers. That was my job. But I could see that if they didn't stop the bleeding, they had a 51% turnover rate in an organization where it took people 6 months to a year to get up to speed. They're not going to be able to sustain this. They have to be able to create a place where people want to stay. And salary can't be the biggest driver because there's only so much. So I worked with this organization to, well, to build the infrastructure for an engaging workplace. So this is like roll up your sleeves, hardcore. We are just going to turn this around. And first of all the leaders had to be committed, and they were, because I said, I ain't doing this all myself. I am
Mhm.
one little 4'11" lady.
Mhm.
I am not doing this all myself. You all have to help. Who's on board? VPs, directors, yes, we're on board. Okay, let's start with, and we did management training, soup to nuts. We got all the managers trained. We did training to create common language for the general population. We did DISC. We did crucial conversations. We created a reward and recognition program. We revamped our performance management. We did look at salary so that we could be somewhat competitive because you can't completely take it off the table.
Mhm.
But we did this holistic overhaul. That leadership team was on board. I had that president teaching classes with me. I swear to you, tag teaming with me,
Mhm.
teaching classes. They went from 51% turnover to under 20% turnover in 18 months. Why? Because they created a place where people wanted to work.
Mhm.
The question wasn't, why are people leaving? Because if you ask that question, Curtis, you and I could think of a million reasons to
That's
leave,
right. That's right.
right? I get more money. It's a closer commute. It's
Yep.
la 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 la.
Yep.
I needed a new title. The question to ask is, what is the compelling reason for people to stay? What will they get here that will be hard to find somewhere else?
Yeah.
And we created it. Access to senior leaders, having senior leaders that listened, good professional development, not just, oh man, I got to go to this class. Like, no, like good workshops, right? They did all the right things, reward and recognition programs, celebrations. I watched that happen. That's a long winded answer to say that changed me
Mm.
forever. I realized management training is a piece of what makes a great organization. But holistically, it's lots of things that collectively make it a place you just don't want to leave. You don't want to
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
because you want to have it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that for me was life shifting, which is why I speak on culture. I
Mhm.
share that as a case study. I've done that with other organizations, different results, different situations. But man, we won best place to work.
Nice.
We won great places. Like, who's getting trophies
Wow.
18 months to 2 years after you were barely able to keep staff?
Yeah.
Yeah. 18 months to 2 years.
Wow. And
Unbelievable.
I think like a business owner, not just a person that sees the value in what you did. And I know they paid you,
They did. I
but
was paid well.
I'm thinking for what they got, the value that you gave them,
Oh
to
my
be
gosh.
able to just if you looked at the turnover numbers in terms of what they saved, if you
Yeah,
look at the productivity associated with now engaged employees, if you look at the reputation from being one of the best places to work, I mean, that's a
it's a
number that
lot.
they can't put their fingers on. So
It was a
kudos to you.
tiny investment. It
Yeah.
was a tiny investment when you look at it in terms of the return that they got.
Yep.
They would have gone out of business. They could not sustain themselves without talent that they could keep. It's not that kind of bit. It's not like a call center where, you expect to have high turnover, but you quickly get somebody up to speed. So that really reinforced for me because it's interesting. You go to school and you take classes and you
Hmm.
work in
Hmm.
companies yourself. But that reinforced for me the power of culture and the power of having leaders that are engaged
Yeah.
and leaders that are willing to go beyond their comfort zone to make good things happen. I have to credit that leadership team because most leadership teams would not have done what they did.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
and that
just
was to
wouldn't.
take a chance. That was also to make the investment. So when you
Yes.
said that, that was key, right? I heard this not just for leaders of a company. I heard that for folks that are looking for jobs,
Yes.
that when they need to make waves, they also need to make investments. And that investments is not just money. That's investment in time. That's investment in their skills. That's investment in being relevant now.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to make the investment.
Yeah. And they did, and I think it's because they were just looking for, like, a lifeline. Like,
Yeah.
we got I was like, I'll never forget, I was like a minister
Yeah.
in this conference room, and these leaders are just exhausted, right? Because
Yeah.
they're just beat up. And I'm like, "Listen, do you believe we could turn this around?" "Well, yeah, I think we do." "No, brothers and sisters, do you
Do you
believe
believe?
we can turn this around? Can I hear you?" Yes. It was like a but you and I both know this you have to be all in.
Yes.
You have to be all this can't be like, "Well, I did that." No. Like, this is gonna take time and energy, and you have to be all in. That's what made that work, and it's hard to duplicate. It's hard to duplicate because it is hard to find leaders that are willing to do what those leaders did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Perfect storm. There you go.
Yeah. No, I
You're gonna
love
get
it.
answers to questions, man.
I love it. I love it. So speaking of which, here's a question that I like to ask. Is there a question that I didn't ask you that you expected me to ask? Or is there something that you want to share that you think is important for our conversation?
Oh my gosh, so many things, so many things. A lot of time I guess I expect you to ask Teresa, why did you write this book? You're not a career coach. And this took a lot of time and effort. Why did you do that? So there's one question you didn't ask.
Okay,
But
so
what
you're
is
going to
some
answer that question.
well, here's I don't know why, but I think it's just in my DNA.
Hmm.
It is part of if we want to get a little spiritual, it
Hmm.
is part of a soul purpose that I have that I can't help but help job seekers.
Hmm.
And I can't help but help people embrace their career. We, especially as Americans, we tie our identity very often
Yes, we do.
to our jobs. It's the second question we ask. I'll be Curtis, what's your name? Oh, Curtis, what do you do?
What do
It's
you do?
question number two. All Americans do it.
That's
It's
right.
not the same around the world. We all do it. So, but I have this passion for helping job seekers starting in 2003 when people were out of work and I felt so bad and I started job search groups. I started to gather these tools
Hmm.
and help all of these job seekers. And I have continued to help job seekers 22 years. For 22 years. So I've hoarded things.
Hmm.
Now, people, nicer word is curated. I've curated a collection, but I got all these assessments and websites and where do you go to look for good companies to work and sample target company lists and how do you know what you want to be when you grow up? I got all that stuff. And frankly, I got tired of giving it out one at a time. I'm exhausted. Oh, for 10 years, I worked on this book that is not even 100 pages long, but it's got everything in it that I would say, here, use this. So this will be my first thing. I'd say use this. Then my second thing would be, if you can, hire somebody like Curtis because he will be there for you to explain things, to answer questions. But in the meantime, this book is going to walk you through all of the best practices that you need to be employable for life. So that's why I wrote this book. I'm exhausted, Curtis. I am tired of doing this one on one. I'm like, please just read this book. So that's where I am. And it took 10 years because I overthink everything, but I finally got it out. And it looks beautiful. My layout person was just an angel from God.
Awesome.
There you go.
You and I have such a similar story. You mentioned 2003, I mentioned 2002 when I got laid off, and I I can relate to you on the passion for helping people get a job.
Yes.
And I do understand that work is identity. And in fact, I'm always talking about that. You hit the nail on the head. What's your name? What do you
What
do?
do you do?
Yeah.
It's who we are as Americans.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
So,
I wish it were a different question. I don't know. What gives you joy?
what gives you joy?
Maybe that should be our second question. What is your name and what gives you joy?
I think you're right. And in fact, one of my responses typically to what do you do, depending on where I am and the location, right? Because I know that people are conditioned for that. I like to jump in and say, for fun. And that usually stops people because I want them to get to know me
Yeah.
versus measure me. Because that's the other thing. I know that people genuinely want to know what I do, but I can almost tell whether you're going to make a decision about me based off of my answer. And I don't want to just go right in. Now, there are times I'm a dude. I got an ego. I might even know that that's where you're going. And then
Yes.
I'm going to slam you or pitch you in a way that I'm going to turn you from wondering if I'm going to be part of your tribe to wondering if you can be part of mine, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's just me reading
It
the
is
room, right?
absolutely true.
So, well, listen, this was such an amazing conversation. And I tell you what, we made some waves today because
We did.
we've battled through some technology issues. Now, when people see this, they might not know
They will
that.
never know.
We've battled with some issues in technology in previous times trying to come together. We've battled with some COVID, but here we are and we made it. And I got to tell you, this is probably one of the best conversations that I've had. I knew it would be because it's you. I was dying
Oh,
to get on
I'm glad you
with you.
persevered.
Yeah, I was going to pursue you. I was going to show up at one of those VRBOs and just say, hey, here I am.
Oh
Here's a
my
microphone. Let's
gosh.
go.
Yes, you are always welcome at a VRBO. I got one coming up in week before Thanksgiving. I run at a VRBO.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So before we wrap up, why don't you tell us how can we connect with you?
My gosh. Well, I would start out with LinkedIn. I'm an
Yeah.
avid LinkedIn person. So if you reach out to connect with me and you say, hey, I saw you on Curtis podcast. Now, I don't accept everybody. I kind of have an 80-20 rule. But if you say, I saw you on Curtis podcast, that will vet you as a good person. So I will let you in. So LinkedIn is number one. You'll find me. I have my High Five Performance website. I've got a Theresa HK comedy website, and I also have the Meet the Author PC website, which is Meet the Author at the Pyramid Club. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, we have in-person meetings there. You should come. And if you're not in Philadelphia, I do a lot of Zoom Meet the Authors now since COVID. I've kept the Zooms going. So find me, Theresa HK, Theresa Hummel-Krallinger. I would love to connect and learn about you. So thanks, Curtis.
That's perfect. And we'll be sure to take all that information and put it in our show notes so people can connect with you.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
all right. And to everyone that's still with us, thank you so much for listening. And be sure to continue to turn your visions into reality. Until next time, thank you. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Vision to Reality podcast. A huge thank you to today's guests. You can find all of their contact information in any resources mentioned in the show notes below. Also, can you do me a big favor? If you found today's conversation valuable, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a comment, and a review, and share it with a friend or colleague who could benefit from the information shared today. And remember, vision without action is just a dream. Let's turn those big ideas into reality. I'll see you in the next episode.